You've probably felt it, like you don't fit in no matter how hard you try. You enter a room and something feels off. You shrink yourself to avoid attention, or you overgive just to feel wanted. But still, something doesn't click. You wonder, what am I doing wrong? But what if you're asking the wrong question? What if you're not meant to fit in at all? The truth is, you were never created to be ordinary. You were never designed to be just another option. You were made to be rare, precious, the kind of presence that makes people pause, not because of noise, but because of stillness. Luxury isn't about labels, price tags, or fame. It's about frequency. It's the quiet confidence that speaks before you open your mouth. It's the stillness in your energy that says, I know who I am. You see, in a world filled with noise, true luxury is silence. In a culture obsessed with more, real worth is found in enough. You become luxury when you stop begging for space and start becoming the space. People start treating you differently the moment you start treating yourself differently. Not louder, not more demanding, just more aligned. You were never meant to blend in with the crowd because the crowd was never meant to define you. You weren't sent here to chase attention. You were sent to awaken it. And once you understand that your value isn't something to prove, but something to remember, the game changes. You're no longer asking, why don't they see me? Instead, you begin to realize, they couldn't recognize me because I was dimming my own light to fit their vision. When you stop trying to be chosen, you finally remember that you are the choice. You are the prize, the answer, the gift. Not everyone will see it, and that's okay. Luxury isn't for everyone, but the right people, they'll feel it the moment you walk in, not because of what you wear, not because of what you say, but because of who you are. And who you are is rare. There's a quiet truth no one really tells you. The world doesn't treat you based on your potential. It treats you based on your perception of yourself. If you see yourself as an option, people will treat you like a backup plan. If you see yourself as expensive, as sacred, as a divine being, people will feel that even before you speak. You may be working hard to be liked. You might say yes when you want to say no. You might lower your standards so you don't scare anyone away. But that doesn't bring you love. It brings you transactional attention. And attention isn't the same as respect. Popularity isn't the same as value. Noise isn't the same as worth. Every time you abandon yourself to be more understandable or likable, you're teaching the world that you're willing to be less. You're lowering your frequency to match the room instead of asking if the room deserves your presence. And every time you do this, you disconnect from your own power. Let this truth settle in. If you don't value your energy, someone else will use it for their own benefit. If you don't protect your space, someone else will fill it with their chaos. If you don't define your worth, the world will try to label you, and they'll always undervalue what they don't understand. Luxury doesn't scream, it doesn't chase, it doesn't explain, it simply is. You've been taught that to be loved, you have to shrink. That humility means hiding, but true humility isn't about being invisible. It's about being rooted. It's saying, I don't need to prove anything because I already know what I bring. Start watching the way people treat you, not from a place of bitterness, but as a mirror. Are they valuing you, respecting your time, listening when you speak? If not, the shift doesn't start with them. It starts with you, the way you talk to yourself, the way you keep your promises to yourself, the way you show up even when no one's clapping. This isn't about ego. This is about energetic truth. When you shift your frequency, you don't have to demand recognition. You become undeniable. You stop asking to be seen and you start becoming the standard. Elegance isn't about wearing designer clothes or speaking with a polished accent. Elegance is energy. It's the way you carry yourself, the way you respond instead of react, the way you walk into a room with stillness instead of noise. In a world that's constantly rushing, elegance is unbothered. True elegance isn't in the outfit, it's in the posture of your spirit. When you truly see yourself as valuable, you don't need to chase attention. You let it come to you. You speak less, but say more. You don't argue to be understood. You don't fight to be heard. You know that real power is silent. Real power is centered. Think about how luxury behaves. A luxury store doesn't beg you to enter. It doesn't flash red sale signs or shout deals. It simply exists, clean, still, confident. Why? Because it knows its value. You can walk past it if you want, but those who are ready for it will feel its pull. You are that kind of space. When you stop rushing to prove yourself, you become magnetic. When you stop explaining and start embodying, your energy shifts, and people will feel that shift before they even understand it. Elegance isn't about being perfect, it's about being present. It's not about pretending you're above anyone. It's about remembering that you're above begging for love, chasing after validation, or forcing what doesn't feel aligned. When you speak with intention, people lean in. When you walk with grace, people follow. And when you live in alignment with your truth, you become unforgettable. Being seen as luxury has nothing to do with money. It has everything to do with frequency. And frequency is shaped by what you believe about yourself, not just on your good days, but especially on your low ones. On the days you feel invisible, remind yourself, even diamonds are hidden underground before they're discovered. Being unseen does not mean you are unworthy. It may just mean the world isn't ready yet to receive your full brilliance. But you stay elegant. You stay rooted. You keep showing up as the luxury you already are, because the ones who are meant to see you will never forget you. Think about this for a moment. When was the last time you said yes to something you didn't want, just to avoid disappointing someone? When did you last let someone speak to you in a way that didn't feel right, but you stayed silent? These moments might seem small, but they're expensive. Not in money, but in energy. Every time you ignore your boundaries, you're paying with your peace. Boundaries are not walls, they are gates. They don't push people away, they let the right ones in. In the spiritual world, your boundaries are a reflection of how much you value your inner space. The more you respect your own time, your own feelings, your own needs, the more others will learn to respect them too. Luxury protects itself. It doesn't allow just anyone to handle it. And you, as a divine being, must do the same. There's nothing spiritual about self-abandonment. There's nothing noble about being drained. You can be kind and still say no. You can be generous and still have limits. In fact, the most powerful people are those who know how to say enough. Not with anger, not with fear, but with certainty. When you say no to what drains you, you say yes to what grows you. When you draw a line, you're not being cold, you're being clear. You're sending a message to the universe: I take my energy seriously. And here's the truth many people miss. Boundaries raise your frequency. They help you vibrate higher. When your energy is clean, sacred, and protected, you naturally become more magnetic. People start treating you with more respect. Opportunities start flowing to you without force. You don't have to be rude. You just have to be rooted. And when someone crosses the line you've drawn, you don't need to fight to prove your worth. You simply remove your energy from where it's not honored. This is the new wealth: emotional clarity, spiritual alignment, and a life filled with peace. because you chose to protect your power. Words are not just sounds, they are spells. Every time you speak, you're casting a message into the universe. You're either calling in power or pushing it away, and most people don't even realize they've been programming their own lack, one sentence at a time. Listen to your daily language. Are you saying things like, "I'm broke. I can't afford that. I'm not good enough. I hope things get better"? These may seem harmless, but spiritually, they are declarations, and the universe listens. Luxury doesn't speak with desperation, it speaks with decision. A person who knows their worth doesn't beg for good things, they expect them, not from ego, but from alignment. Begin to change the way you speak about yourself, your future, and your value. Replace "I can't" with "I choose not to." Replace "I hope" with "I trust." Replace "I'm trying" with "I am becoming." These are not just word games, these are energetic shifts. Your mouth must match your mission. If your spirit says you're powerful, but your mouth says you're stuck, there's a spiritual disconnect, and the universe responds not to your dreams, but to your frequency. Start using affirmations that feel real to you. I am seen as valuable wherever I go. I speak with clarity and calm power. I don't chase, I attract what's aligned. When you say these words, don't just whisper them like they're wishes. Say them like they're already happening. Say them with your chest, with your breath, with your presence. Speaking like royalty doesn't mean sounding fancy. It means speaking with faith. Faith in who you are, faith in your journey, faith that your words create your world. The shift is simple. Speak what you want, not what you fear. And soon, your world will start reflecting your new script. How many times have you tried to explain your choices to people who were never meant to understand them? How many times have you watered down your vision because someone thought it was too much? How many times have you made yourself smaller just so others wouldn't feel uncomfortable around your greatness? Luxury doesn't explain itself, it doesn't argue, it simply exists. You do not need to explain your glow to those who prefer the dark. You don't need to explain your peace to those addicted to chaos. You don't need to explain your vision to people who only see limitations. Every time you try to make someone understand your worth, you hand them power over it. You turn your value into something that needs permission. But your worth was never meant to be a debate, it's a declaration. You are allowed to outgrow conversations that keep circling doubt. You are allowed to walk away from spaces that demand explanations instead of offering support. You are allowed to make decisions that only your soul understands. Explaining often comes from insecurity. It's a quiet way of asking, do you still like me if I change? Do you still accept me if I evolve? But true self-love doesn't ask that question. It says, I accept me, and that's enough. Silence is your new power. It speaks louder than justification ever could. Let your actions speak for themselves. Let your peace confuse them. Let your growth be your answer. People who are ready for your frequency won't need an explanation. They will just feel it. You're not here to convince anyone. You're here to become, and becoming doesn't require approval. It requires alignment. So the next time someone questions your path, your light, your worth, don't explain. Just smile and keep moving, because the moment you stop explaining yourself, you start expressing your truth. And that's when the world begins to take notice. You carry a presence. Not everyone can describe it, but they feel it. The way you walk, the way you stand, the way your eyes meet the world. This is your spiritual signature, your silent introduction to every room you enter. Before you speak, before you move, Your energy speaks first. But most people don't own this power. They hide their presence. They shrink their voice. They soften their glow to avoid judgment. And in doing so, they give up the very thing that makes them unforgettable. Presence is not about being loud. It's about being aligned. It's the calm in your posture, the peace in your breath, the quiet confidence in your gaze. You don't have to say, "Here I am." Your spirit already says it for you. You've been taught that you need to prove yourself to be seen, that you need to do more, talk more, impress more. But true luxury doesn't chase attention. It commands it by existing. Your job is not to be the loudest in the room. Your job is to be the clearest. Start noticing how you carry yourself. Are you rushing through rooms, hiding your eyes, making yourself smaller? Or are you moving with intention, standing tall, holding your own space? When you shift into ownership of your presence, people feel it. They may not understand it, but they'll sense the strength. You'll stop attracting chaos and start attracting clarity because your energy now says, "I know who I am." Think of presence as prayer in motion. It's sacred, it's still, and it's powerful. Don't wait for others to validate your worth. Begin showing up like you're already approved. Because in the spiritual realm, you were never meant to ask for permission to exist. You were meant to embody your calling. Your presence is not random. It's a divine appointment. Own it. How you treat yourself teaches the world how to treat you. And one of the fastest ways to raise your spiritual frequency is by creating daily rituals that remind you of your high worth. These aren't just routines. These are sacred moments, invitations for the universe to match your energy. Rituals anchor your identity. They help you remember who you are on days when the world forgets. One powerful ritual is the morning mirror affirmation. Every morning before checking your phone, look in the mirror, not to find flaws, but to find your truth. Place your hand on your heart and say, "I am valuable. I am seen. I am not here to compete. I am here to create." Say it slowly. Say it like you mean it. Let the words move from your mouth into your cells. Another ritual is to treat your space as sacred. Clean your environment like it's a temple. Light a candle. Play music that soothes your soul. Decorate your space with objects that make you feel rich in spirit. When your space reflects love, your energy follows. You can also elevate your daily habits. Sip your tea slowly. Write your thoughts in a beautiful notebook. Take 5 minutes to breathe in silence. These aren't luxuries. These are spiritual necessities in a noisy world. And don't forget how you dress. You don't have to wear expensive clothes to carry wealth energy. Wear what makes you feel elevated. Choose colors that lift you. Choose outfits that reflect your soul, not society. These simple acts say to the universe, "I'm not waiting to feel worthy. I'm living as if I already am." Rituals are reminders. They whisper, "You are not average. You are sacred. You are chosen." And when you start your day with that knowing, everything else begins to shift. You don't need a reason to treat yourself well. You are the reason. We've been trained to believe that life is a competition, that someone else's win is our loss, that we have to hurry, hustle, and push harder to stay ahead. But the truth is, the moment you enter competition mode, you exit alignment. Your power is not in being better than anyone. Your power is in being fully you. Competition is fear dressed as ambition. It says, "If they shine, there's less light for me." But in spiritual truth, light doesn't run out. The sun doesn't dim because another star rises, and neither should you. When you stop comparing, you start radiating. You begin to glow from within. You stop focusing on how others see you, and you start focusing on how you see yourself. This is the shift that makes you magnetic. You're no longer chasing worth, you're embodying it. You're no longer proving anything, you're living your truth. And when you do this, the world adjusts to your vibration. Let others rush, let them compete. You walk in grace, you move with purpose, you speak from presence, because luxury doesn't run, it arrives. You weren't sent here to copy, you were sent here to create. So when you see someone else thriving, celebrate them. Let their glow remind you of your own. Because jealousy is just admiration in disguise. And the moment you transmute it, you tap into your own power. There is no one else with your soul, your voice, your path. That's your unfair advantage. That's your divine blueprint. Use it. When you stop competing, you start becoming. You stop comparing, and you start ascending. And that's when people will begin to say, there's something about them. They won't be able to explain it, but they'll feel it. That something is your light. Deep down, many of us carry an invisible weight, the quiet belief that we are not enough, not smart enough, not pretty enough, not successful enough. And this belief shows up in how we walk, how we talk, and how we allow others to treat us. It becomes the silent script running beneath everything we do. But here's the truth. That belief was never yours to begin with. Maybe someone planted it in you when you were a child. Maybe it came from the way people overlooked you, criticized you, or made you feel small. Over time, those experiences turned into a story you didn't write, but somehow you started living it. The good news? You can rewrite that story starting now. Begin by recognizing the voice. When you hear that whisper saying, "You're not good enough," pause and say out loud, "That is not my truth," because it isn't. That voice is a shadow of the past, not the light of who you truly are. Try this simple healing practice. Place your hand on your heart, close your eyes, and speak softly to yourself. I am not who they said I was. I am who I choose to be. I release the old stories. I now remember my truth. This may feel strange at first, especially if you're used to speaking harshly to yourself, but over time, this gentle voice becomes your new inner power. Remember, every time you doubt yourself, you are seeing yourself through a broken mirror. The world reflects back what you believe, and when you begin to see your true worth, that reflection begins to change. You don't have to earn your enoughness. You were born with it. You were born with a spark of divinity, a piece of heaven within you. That's not poetry, that's spiritual reality. You are not lacking. You are not missing anything. You are not late. You are becoming. And the more you believe in your own worth, the more the world will mirror it back to you. You are more than enough. You always were. You don't have to wait until you're rich to feel rich. You don't have to wait until others value you to treat yourself with value. It begins with you, right here, right now. When you treat your life like it's luxury, it begins to mirror that energy back to you. And this has nothing to do with how much money is in your account. This is about how you carry your days, your energy, your rituals. Start by asking yourself, what makes me feel expensive? What makes me feel sacred? Maybe it's drinking your tea slowly from your favorite cup. Maybe it's lighting a candle and listening to soft music while you cook. Maybe it's writing affirmations in a notebook with golden ink. Maybe it's saying no to what doesn't serve your peace. These are not small things, these are soul things. When you treat your everyday life with care, you shift the entire atmosphere around you. You raise the vibration of your space. You lift your mood. You invite better into your world without force, just by being in alignment. You can begin by blessing the money you already have. Instead of complaining about what you don't have, look at what you do. Say, "Thank you for what is already here. I honor this. I expand this." You can wear clothes that make you feel powerful, even if no one will see you that day. You can speak to yourself in ways that remind you of who you are. You can design your space with love and gratitude. Luxury starts as a feeling. That feeling grows into a mindset. That mindset becomes a frequency. And that frequency attracts people, opportunities, and experiences that match your inner world. You don't become luxury by chasing it. You become it by embodying it. There are so many people trying to fit in, trying to follow trends, trying to become what the world tells them to be. But in trying to be accepted, they forget their uniqueness. They forget that being rare is where their power is. You weren't sent here to copy anyone. You weren't sent here to follow the crowd. You were sent here to awaken something different, something only you carry. When you realize this, you stop asking, "Why don't they see me?" Instead, you say, "I see me," and that's enough. You become the one who sets the tone, the one who creates their own lane, the one who doesn't beg for a seat at the table, because you're busy building your own. Being seen as a luxury isn't about being better than others. It's about being in harmony with your truth. It's about remembering that your energy is rare, your heart is rare, your way of seeing the world is rare. You may not be for everyone, and that's okay. Luxury isn't meant to be everywhere. It's meant to be distinct. So the next time you're tempted to shrink, to blend in, to water yourself down, pause and ask yourself, am I honoring my rarity or am I hiding it? Choose to be seen, choose to be felt, choose to radiate your light without apology. You are not a backup plan. You are not an afterthought. You are not one of many. You are one of one. And the more you stand in that truth, the more the world will shift to match it. You've just been reminded of what your soul already knows. You are not ordinary. You were never meant to chase approval or be molded by someone else's expectations. You were sent here to rise, to radiate, and to remember who you are. Each psychological key you've learned today isn't about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about returning to who you've always been, a divine, powerful, radiant being of light, a presence that makes people pause, a soul that shifts rooms without saying a word. You are luxury, not because of what you own, but because of who you are. Not because of how others see you, but because you've decided to see yourself differently. The moment you start treating yourself with sacred value, the world will too. So take a breath, lift your head, walk like you know your worth, speak like you believe in your destiny, set boundaries like you've already arrived, and live like the rarity you truly are. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs the real you. And you, just as you are more than enough. You are the standard. You are the signal. You are the luxury.